The bulldozer's blade came down with a sickening crack against the granite headstone. Janet Whitfield watched from the edge of the site, arms folded, a tight smile on her face. In Washington, D.C., Raymond Stonefeather's phone buzzed insistently in the middle of a Senate hearing.
The cemetery. Our family's burial ground.
He rushed out of the Capitol, his truck engine roaring to life within minutes, heading west. Hours later, he stood at the edge of what had been his ancestral cemetery. The fence was gone, the ground torn open.
14 generations of my family, erased in an afternoon. I promised my grandfather I'd protect this land.
He pulled out his phone and began photographing every broken stone, every overturned marker. He knelt and picked up a fragment engraved with his great-grandfather's name.
They think this is just land. They've never heard of Nagbra.
Raymond found Janet in the construction trailer overlooking the destroyed cemetery, her expression somewhere between annoyance and amusement.
Well, look who's here. The man who thinks he owns our golf course expansion.
I don't think I own it. I am the tribal chairman of the nation that holds this land. You just committed a federal crime.
Our title company says otherwise. This land was abandoned. You are a squatter trying to extort us.
Nagdreeb doesn't care about your title opinion. The FBI will be here within 72 hours.
He turned and walked out, leaving Janet with a flicker of uncertainty she quickly smothered.
Elena, they bulldozed the ancestor grounds. I need you on this.
I'll file an emergency complaint with the BIA and FBI. Meet me at my office in 20 minutes.
Within the hour, Elena Crowfoot had the federal forms ready, the weight of the Native American Graves Protection and Repatriation Act behind them.
Willful grave desecration carries up to 10 years, Raymond, and that's just the start. We're going to bury them in law.
The next morning, 2 unmarked federal SUVs rolled up to the Hidden Meadows HOA entrance.
I am Agent Lopez, Bureau of Indian Affairs. This is Agent Davis, FBI. We need to speak to the person in charge of the expansion project.
This is all a misunderstanding. The title company assured us the land was abandoned. We had no idea about any burial ground.
Ignorance isn't a defense under NAGPRA. We're securing the entire development as a potential crime scene.
Within the hour, bright yellow tape reading federal crime scene stretched across the golf course construction site. Panic spread through Hidden Meadows as residents gathered in the clubhouse, their expensive homes suddenly under a legal cloud.
Everyone calm down. I am sure this is just a bureaucratic mix-up. Janet assured us the title was clean.
That tribal chairman is just trying to shake us down. The law is on our side.
Agent Lopez walked through the shattered headstones, her expression unreadable as she cataloged the desecration.
14 graves destroyed in one afternoon. This wasn't negligence, it was a conscious choice.
That afternoon, Raymond and Elena met Agent Lopez at a temporary FBI command post near the cemetery.
The cemetery parcel has never been part of any HOA plat. It's Stonefeather land, recorded since 1978.
And the HOA claims they acquired it through a tax sale? We'll need their paperwork immediately.
Inside the HOA clubhouse, Janet cornered Richard, her voice tight with panic.
Where are the tax sale documents, Richard? You assured me the title was ironclad.
I can't find any record of a sale. The title company said they'd have copies, but the files are missing.
When Agent Lopez requested the HOA's ownership paperwork, Richard returned to the command post empty-handed.
It's obviously a clerical error. The county must have misfiled them. We've done nothing wrong.
If they can't produce a title, Raymond, the original tribal trust status might still be intact. We need to dig deeper.
The federal agents exchanged glances, their notes filling with inconsistencies. Something didn't add up by the next evening. Janet had hired a crisis PR firm to reshape the narrative before the federal investigation could trap her.
I want every homeowner terrified that their life savings are at risk because of one man's greed.
Within hours, flyers appeared on every doorstep in Hidden Meadows, labeling Raymond Stonefeather, a con artist preying on families. When Raymond walked through the neighborhood to document the damage, he felt the burn of hostile stares from every window.
They've been lied to so thoroughly. I am the monster in their eyes.
A woman pushing a stroller crossed the street to avoid him, clutching her phone as if he were a threat. Back at the devastated cemetery, he found Elena waiting, a thick file in her hands.
Let them spin lies. We have facts, the original deed, Nagpra statutes, and a suspect whose story is falling apart.
She showed him a printout of Janet's conflicting statements to the agents, contradictions highlighted in yellow.
They can smear me all they want, but I won't let them erase our dead.
Agent Davis obtained the title company's internal emails. 3 separate warnings sent to Janet, each flagging the cemetery as an unresolved parcel.
You were told 3 times, Mrs. Whitfield. 3 times, and you still ordered the bulldozers in.
Those were just routine alerts. We had no reason to believe they were binding. This is all a misunderstanding.
Her lawyer tried to dismiss the warnings as a bureaucratic anomaly, but the damage to her defense was severe. Meanwhile, Elena spent hours at the county records office, searching for the original tribal trust paperwork. She slammed the phone down. The county had no digital trail, and the paper archives were disorganized.
Raymond, I've hit a wall. The original trust maps from 1923 are gone, purged, misfiled, or worse.
She met Raymond at the federal command post, her expression grim. Without those documents, the tribe's claim to the entire HOA land was legally hobbled.
They can't just vanish. Someone had to keep a copy. There has to be a paper trail somewhere.
The weight of the missing evidence pressed on them. Janet's premeditation was clear, but the crucial proof of unbroken sovereignty remained just out of reach. Elena called Raymond with a lead, an off-site county archive where pre-digital records were stored, often forgotten.
A clerk named Frank Calloway runs the place. If anyone knows where a misfiled box is, it's him.
Raymond drove to the dusty annex, a windowless building crammed with filing cabinets from decades past. Inside, Frank Calloway looked up from a stack of crumbling ledgers, his glasses thick and smudged.
It's tribal trust lands. I set aside a box years ago that never made it into the computer. Follow me.
They squeezed between rows of musty shelves until Frank stopped at a box caked in dust, its label barely legible. Raymond lifted the lid and found a yellowed folder. The typed label read Tribal Trust Lands, 1923. Inside lay a fragile plat map, its edges crumbling. A small parcel marked Stonefeather Cemetery caught his eye.
Don't unfold it completely. The creases might tear. That document hasn't seen light in a century.
He carefully closed the folder, his mind racing. This crumbling paper could hold the truth about tribal sovereignty he desperately needed. Before Raymond could leave the archive, his phone buzzed with a text from Janet demanding they meet at the HOA clubhouse. Inside, Janet was waiting with a check already written for $500,000, her smile strained and desperate.
Let's end this. $500,000. Drop the complaint, and all this ugliness goes away.
You think you can buy 14 generations of my ancestors with a check?
Then prepare for a decade in court. I'll bury you in appeals until you are bankrupt.
Raymond walked out without another word, the threat echoing in the empty clubhouse. Later that evening, Richard slipped away from the development and met Raymond and Elena in a quiet federal building hallway.
I never approved the demolition. Janet lied to the board. I'll testify. I have minutes proving it.
If you cooperate fully, Agent Davis will take your statement immediately. This could reduce your own exposure.
Richard nodded, and Elena opened the door to Agent Davis's office, the balance of power shifting decisively against Janet. That evening, Raymond returned alone to the ruined cemetery, the air heavy with the scent of overturned earth. He knelt by a shattered stone engraved with his grandfather's name, the same stone he'd promised to protect.
Don't let the bastards take what's yours. You said that to me, grandfather. I haven't forgotten.
He pressed the granite fragment into his palm until the edges hurt, anchoring himself to the promise.
I will see this ground consecrated again. Every stone will be raised. I swear it.
His phone shattered the silence with an urgent ring. Elena's name flashed on the screen.
Raymond, The map has been digitally restored. Get here now. You need to see what we've found.
Is it what we hoped?
He didn't wait for an answer. Pocketing the stone fragment, he sprinted to his truck and peeled out of the lot. The truth that had eluded them for days was waiting in Elena's office, and nothing would stop him from reaching it. Raymond burst into Elena's office, where a high-resolution scan of the old plat map filled a wall-mounted screen. Frank by the keyboard.
This is the digitized 1923 plat. Look at the parcel marked Stonefeather Cemetery. The annotation is irrefutable.
She tapped a key and the words Tribal Trust Land, Never Alienated appeared, glowing in the center of the cemetery plot.
That means our land was never severed from the reservation. It's still under federal trust protection.
I checked the chain of title 3 times. The entire 400 acres, every inch of hidden meadows, falls within the original trust boundary.
Our tribe never ceded this land. The HOA's construction sits squarely on sovereign territory. They are the trespassers now.
She switched to a satellite view. The red trust boundary swallowed the golf course, clubhouse, and all 38 luxury homes.
Janet bulldozed her own future. She handed us the power to claim this entire community.
In all my years, I've never seen a development of this size fall into a legal void so completely.
We'll present this to the federal judge immediately. But first, we need to decide exactly what we're demanding.
At dawn, a federal judge convened an emergency hearing. The courtroom felt colder than usual, tension thick in the air.
Your Honor, we submit the restored 1923 plat. The Stonefeather Cemetery and the surrounding 400 acres have never been alienated from tribal trust.
A projector displayed the bright red trust boundary swallowing hidden meadows. The defense table fell silent. The judge studied the document, then fixed Janet with a look that stripped away pretense. I am issuing an immediate restraining order. All construction, sales, and financial transactions within the trust boundary are frozen. Janet's lawyer tried to object, but the judge cut him off. The evidence was overwhelming.
Your Honor, the FBI and BIA support this order and will enforce it immediately at the HOA site.
As the gavel fell, the courtroom erupted in hushed chaos. HOA lawyers whispered frantic calls, while Richard buried his face in his hands.
They thought they could pave over our dead and call it progress. Now they're the squatters. Now they're the squatters.
We hold all the cards now. Let's make sure the terms honor your ancestors.
By midday, panic tore through hidden meadows. Residents stormed the clubhouse, demanding answers. Some shouted about losing their life savings. Others cried into phones.
Please, everyone, sit down. We're arranging a meeting with the tribe. There's still a path forward.
Janet stepped forward, but a chorus of boos drowned her out. Her fuchsia blazer no longer commanded authority. It now marked her as the instigator. Richard, desperate to restore order, grabbed the microphone. I've asked Raymond Stonefeather to speak. He's here. The room hushed.
I am not your enemy. I never sought to take your homes. The real crime was committed by those who lied to you. The tribe will not evict innocent families, but the HOA board must accept responsibility and a new relationship with our nation.
A woman's voice cut through the silence. What happens to our mortgages?
You will keep your homes. We'll work with the lenders to ensure your investments are protected under a new charter that respects our land.
Janet seized the mic, her voice shrill. He's lying. He wants to control everything. But the crowd's murmurs of relief drowned her out. As Janet stormed out, a tentative hope spread. Raymond had bought the community something Janet never could. A reason to listen. 2 days later, Agent Davis arrived at Janet's home with a formal target letter from the U.S. Attorney's Office.
Mrs. Whitfield, you are the target of a federal criminal investigation for grave desecration and wire fraud. This letter outlines the charges.
Inside, she tore open the envelope and scanned the pages, her face draining of color as the words "up to 10 years" burned into her vision.
No, no, no. They can't do this. Graves, they were just old stones in the way of progress.
She fired her corporate counsel that afternoon, replacing them with David Harrow, a white-collar defender known for keeping the wealthy out of prison. Harrow's retainer alone was $500,000, but worse came the next morning. The HOA's insurance carrier denied coverage for willful misconduct. Agent Lopez watched from the car as Janet's Mercedes screeched out of the driveway. She now faced the full weight of the federal system, alone.
I can't go to prison. I built this community. I was going to have a legacy.
At the tribal offices, Elena received a call from the U.S. attorney. They wanted a proffer session. Janet was considering a deal, but for Raymond, no plea deal could undo the desecration. The criminal case was just one front. The tribe's sovereignty demand was coming. Inside the tribal longhouse, the Council of Elders gathered beneath flickering fluorescent light. The restored 1923 map projected on a sheet behind Raymond.
Our sovereignty was tested with a bulldozer. The law is clear. This land never left trust. We must now decide what justice demands.
One by one, the elders raised their hands. Unanimous, Elena handed Raymond a single sheet of paper with the tribe's formal demands. That afternoon, in a sterile federal mediation room, Elena slid the folder across the table to Richard Hemmings and the developer's attorneys.
$61 million for cultural restoration and damages, a permanent conservation easement over the golf course, and tribal consent rights over any future construction.
A developer's lawyer scoffed. Outrageous, he muttered, but Richard held up his hand, silencing the room.
If we reject this, the tribe will file for complete eviction. Every family loses their home. We have no choice but to accept.
The developers argued about the payout, but the tribal attorneys didn't blink. Raymond's silence was the loudest pressure in the room.
You have 48 hours. Accept these terms, or we'll see you in federal court, and we won't lose.
Richard stood frozen in the hallway as the tribal delegation left. The fate of Hidden Meadows now rested on a vote he wasn't sure he could deliver. That evening, as Raymond walked the broken cemetery, Janet's Mercedes appeared, headlights cutting through the dusk.
Please, Raymond. I'll fund the restoration. I'll publicly apologize. Just make the charges go away.
She looked diminished, the arrogance gone, but the desperation in her voice was the same self-interest she'd always had.
You don't understand. I'll lose everything. 10 years? I can't survive that.
You didn't think about survival when you bulldozed my ancestors. Some things money can't fix.
She tried to grab his arm, but he stepped back, his hand resting on a shattered headstone.
I'll tell the FBI everything. The bribes, the sealed records. Give me that chance.
Raymond shook his head slowly. The offer of information was just another transaction.
Tell them for your own conscience, not for mercy from me. You'll face what you've done.
Janet crumpled against her car, sobbing as Raymond walked away into the darkening cemetery. The HOA board convened an emergency session, the 48-hour deadline ticking down in every member's mind.
We have no alternative. The tribe's terms are harsh but just. I move we accept the settlement in full.
One by one, the board members raised their hands, the weight of the decision etching their faces. Unanimous. The developers' objections were overruled by the board's duty to protect the homeowners.
The settlement will be funded by the developer's insurance and bond. No homeowner will lose a cent.
This agreement guarantees the land will never again be violated. Consent rights ensure our voice is heard.
In a brief ceremony, Raymond and Richard signed the historic document, cameras flashing in the sterile room.
The BIA will monitor compliance. This is a new chapter for Hidden Meadows.
Outside, workers erected a sign at the golf course edge. Permanent tribal conservation easement. The treaty was sealed, but Raymond knew the deeper work of restoration and justice was just beginning. At dawn, 3 federal SUVs pulled into Janet Whitfield's circular driveway, tires crunching on the manicured gravel.
Janet Whitfield, you are under arrest for 14 counts of grave desecration and conspiracy to commit fraud.
A news crew filmed as she was led out in cuffs, her blazer a beacon of disgrace. Residents lined the sidewalk, shouting or staring at the woman who nearly cost them everything. She kept her head down, but her knuckles were white around the cuffs. Raymond watched from across the street, no triumph on his face, only the weight of loss.
14 counts. One for each grave they destroyed. Justice has a long memory.
She was placed in an SUV, the door slam echoing down the silent street. Her mugshot later appeared on every channel, the face of someone who thought she was above the law. Raymond turned toward the cemetery. The legal fight was over. The spiritual one had just begun. 3 months later, a federal judge sentenced Janet Whitfield to 8 years for grave desecration and conspiracy. Her face crumpled as the gavel fell. 8 years of confinement now her reality. The $61 million settlement was dispersed, half for the cemetery restoration, a quarter for a tribal cultural center, the rest for scholarships. Raymond oversaw the restoration personally, each headstone carved by hand from native granite.
Every name must be perfect. They deserve more than stone. They deserve memory.
Stone by stone, the fallen markers rose again, surrounded by sage and cedar.
The new charter requires tribal consultation on all construction. Hidden Meadows will never forget who the true stewards are.
A trust fund was established for the Stonefeather Memorial Scholarship, ensuring future generations learn the land's true history.
We reclaimed more than dirt today. We reclaimed sovereignty, and we remembered.
The last headstone was set, his grandfather's name gleaming in the afternoon sun. The dedication ceremony drew tribal elders, HOA families, and media to the restored cemetery on a warm, clear morning.
I never imagined I'd stand here with you. But this is how it should have been all along.
This ground is legally sovereign and spiritually consecrated. No bulldozer will ever touch it again.
Raymond stepped to the microphone, the weight of the moment settling over the silent assembly.
Our ancestors are not lost. They are with us in this ground, in our memory, in our sovereignty.
The tribal flag was raised slowly, its colors catching the wind as a drum began to beat. Some HOA residents stepped forward, placing flowers beside the restored graves.
Justice is not an ending. It's a burden we carry forward, and today we carry it with pride.
The ceremony ended, but the presence of the ancestors lingered in the air, as real as the stones. On the golf course edge, the conservation easement sign stood as a permanent reminder. This land belongs to the tribe, now and forever. After the ceremony, Richard Hemmings stepped forward at the easement sign, a written statement trembling in his hands.
On behalf of Hidden Meadows, I apologize for the destruction of sacred ground. We will spend our lives earning back the trust we broke.
He unveiled a small bronze plaque beside the sign, in perpetual memory of the Stonefeather ancestors and in recognition of tribal sovereignty. That afternoon, the HOA board ratified the amended charter within the clubhouse, a unanimous ballot sealing the historic changes.
From this day forward, every construction permit in Hidden Meadows requires tribal council approval. This is how we build a future together.
Raymond and Richard sat across from each other at the conference table, the new charter between them, symbols of a hard-won peace.
I wish we could undo the past, but I promise you, the future will be different.
It starts today, with honesty.
They shook hands firmly, cameras capturing the moment, the tribal flag reflected in the glass window behind them. Outside, the easement sign stood watch over the golf course, a silent testament that justice, however delayed, had arrived. As evening fell, Raymond walked alone through the restored cemetery, the names of his ancestors glowing in the fading light. He stopped at his grandfather's stone, touching the engraved name with the same palm that once clutched its shattered fragment.
We did it, grandfather. The land remembers us now.
The sky turned deep amber, then purple, and the first stars pierced the twilight.
A lifetime of obligations, and tonight, I finally feel the weight lift.
From the direction of the new cultural center, a tribal drum began to beat, low and steady, carrying across the fields. The sound seemed to rise from the earth itself, a heartbeat older than the golf course, older than the HOA, older than trespass. He let the rhythm fill the silence, a conversation with the ancestors that needed no words.
We are still here, as we have always been.
He stayed until the drum faded, then walked slowly out of the cemetery, the gate closing softly behind him. The next morning, the restored cemetery lay still under a pale blue sky, the tribal flag rippling above the new headstones. Beyond the fence, the golf course stretched quiet and empty, the conservation easement sign catching the first light of day. Raymond opened the gate and walked to his pickup. The keys cold in his hand, he paused, looking back at the graves he had fought to save, the names of his ancestors shining in the sun. He climbed into the cab, the engine turning over with a familiar rumble. The truck rolled past the easement sign, a bronze plaque glinting beneath it. The road curved away from hidden meadows, the cemetery and the flag growing smaller in the rearview mirror. A wide shot held on the cemetery, the flag standing tall, the land restored and sovereign. The land remembers, so must we. The screen faded to black, the distant drumbeat echoing once more before silence.